You ever notice how every rookie walks into the league like it's a dream, but then they realize every nightmare starts as a dream? The lights get brighter, the pace gets faster, and suddenly belief starts to look a lot like pressure. That's when the season stops being a highlight reel and starts becoming homework. Welcome to Round Ball Rants, powered by Dubby.gg, the energy that keeps me sharp when the takes get deep, where hype meets homework and belief has to prove it can handle the schedule. In Philadelphia, VJ Edgecombe is getting the kind of workload most rookies only imagine, nearly 39 minutes a night. That's not a rotation mistake, that's a coach saying, I trust you to survive the chaos. Nick Nurse doesn't hand out minutes, he carves them out of defense and discipline, and Edgecombe's earning every one, guarding vets, attacking lanes, and playing with an energy that makes the game feel personable. He had that statement night against Miami, 29 points, 8 boards, and a defensive clinic that had Heat players side-eyeing the scouting report. He wasn't starstruck, he was locked in, tracking cutters, forcing turnovers, finishing through contact. He plays like someone who doesn't want approval, just opportunity, and Philly's giving him both. But heavy minutes bring heavy lessons. By the fourth quarter, the legs wobble, the shot drifts, the fatigue whispers. That's when rookies usually fold, but Edgecombe leans into it. He treats exhaustion like an opponent to guard. In a city that loves its fighters loud, but respects its grinders more, he's becoming both. The wall hasn't stopped him, it's just teaching him how to climb. In Dallas, Cooper Flagg doesn't just wear the jersey, he wears the franchise. The number one pick walked in with history on his shoulders and a spotlight that never blinks. And he's handling it the way future stars do. One read, one rebound, one rotation at a time. His 24-point, 12-rebound, 4-block game against Denver was a moment of clarity. This kid's ceiling touches the roof. He's learning under Anthony Davis and PJ Washington, picking up the subtleties, defensive timing, footwork, economy, patience, and chaos. You can see it in the way he covers space, how he waits that half second longer before challenging the drive. That's basketball IQ meeting humility. Offensively, the mechanics are there. It's rhythm and pacing that lag behind. He's finding when to cut, when to float, when to simply let the vets cook. Some nights, he scores quietly. Others, he just influences everything without touching the box score. That's growth disguised as background noise. Dallas isn't asking him to be loud. They're asking him to be everlasting. And you can already tell, he listens more than he speaks and learns faster than he fails. In Charlotte, Con Knipple doesn't shout. His jumper does. 7 threes, 25 points against Detroit. That was the league's introduction to precision in sneakers. He shoots like every rim owes him money. But shooters don't get grace periods, they get game plans. Defenders crowd him now, test his handle, bump his rhythm. That's the specialist's dilemma. When you're elite at one thing, everyone wants to know if that's all you've got. Knipple's been answering quietly, attacking closeouts, feeding corners, sliding in to help defense. He's learning that versatility isn't just about skill, it's about survival. Playing beside LaMelo Ball, he's understanding how to blend feel with flow. He doesn't need 20 shots. He just needs one clean look to change a game. He's not trying to be a star. He's trying to be the solution. And that might be the smartest path any rookie can take. In Memphis, Cedric Coward doesn't chase the camera. He commands the respect. No big headlines, no draft night hype, just basketball that works. He had his breakout against Portland, 18 points on 7 for 9 shooting, 3 steals, a block that cracked a bench in half. Coward is every coach's favorite type of rookie, quiet, consistent, aware. He cuts when he should, passes when he must, defends like every assignment is personal. He's not here for flash, he's here for function. Memphis has always loved players who bring stability. Think Mike Conley. Think Dylan Brooks before the noise. Coward fits that lineage. He's the kind of player who raises a team's floor even when he's not raising his voice. He's the calm before and after every storm. He may not trend, but he translates. And translation, not attention, is how rookies survive long enough to matter. Out in Utah, Ace Bailey arrived with a mixtape's worth of hype and a franchise looking for a new compass. The Jazz see him as the blueprint for what's next. A 6'9" wing who can score, stretch, and stir a crowd back to life. But potential comes with mirrors, and Bailey's learning what it's like when the mirrors stare back. He had that 27-point outburst against Sacramento, smooth pull-ups, strong takes, and a one-handed dunk that lit up the arena. But what stood out more was what happened afterward. He cooled off, missed his next 6 shots, and instead of forcing it, started defending like his job depended on it. That's maturity starting to creep in. Bailey's learning that stardom isn't a sprint, it's stamina. The Jazz are letting him make mistakes publicly, the missed rotations, the rush shots, because they see the long-term play. They're teaching him that belief is a process. First the habits, then the headlines. If he keeps trusting that lesson, Ace Bailey might just redefine what a Utah rebuild looks like. Belief that bends, but doesn't break. And in Washington, Trey Johnson arrived like he was already auditioning for a documentary. The kid can score. There's no debate. His 30-point night against Orlando was the stuff of Summer League legend. But the question isn't if he can get buckets, it's how he turns them into wins. Johnson's jumper is pure rhythm, high release, fast reset, fearless range. But he's learning that NBA defenses study patterns, and volume without vision can bury a young scorer fast. The Wizards are letting him play through those growing pains, because when he's on, he makes everyone else's job a lot easier. You can see flashes of composure now. The swing pass instead of the fadeaway, the read instead of the rush. It's subtle, but it's there. He's learning that greatness isn't about how loud you score, it's how smart you scale. In a rebuilding team starving for identity, Trey Johnson's swagger feels like a promise. The kind of promise that can either fuel a franchise or flame out spectacularly. That's what makes him compelling. He's belief and volatility bottled into one jumper. 6 rookies, 6 different definitions of faith. Edgecombe trusts, Flag adapts, Knipple redefines, Coward grounds, Bailey grows, and Johnson dares. They came in chasing dreams, but now they're staring reality right in the eyes. Because in this league, every dream has to pass a test before it turns into truth. And the real ones, they study, they sweat, and they survive. Next up, the sophomores, the ones who've already taken the test and learned how to live with the results. This is Round Ball Rants. They call it the sophomore slump, the year when the magic wears off, the adrenaline fades, and the film starts to catch up. The league stops being surprised by you, and it starts planning for you. Suddenly, that open jumper's contested, that driving lane's gone, and that self-belief you wore like armor now feels a little bit heavier. But the truth? The slump isn't a curse. It's a test. It's where talent meets tolerance, and potential either hardens into production or it fades into the archives. Year 2 is when the noise quiets and the real players start talking back through their game. Welcome to the sophomore stretch, where growth gets uncomfortable and faith gets a little louder. Down in Atlanta, Zachary Rishisher came into the league as a picture of potential. A top 2 pick, a smooth 6'9" wing who makes scouts talk about elegance like it was a stat. And now, a year later, it's about execution. He's slotted beside Jalen Johnson, 2 guys who understand that the highlight doesn't mean much without the win behind it. Rishisher's game matured fast. He isn't chasing shots anymore, he's chasing spacing. The 17-point, 10-rebound performance versus Orlando told the story. No flash, no panic, just process. Every rotation tighter, every closeout cleaner, every shot coming from the right read instead of the right now. He's learning the hardest part of growth, quieting the noise that comes with being the guy. Sophomore seasons expose impatience, but Rishashire, his calm, is translating. When the game speeds up, he slows it down, and that's how stars are sculpted. Atlanta doesn't need him to be the next big thing. They need him to be the next consistent one. And for Rishashire, the slump isn't a fear, it's fuel, proof that he's still writing, not rewinding. And in Houston, Reed Shepherd walks into every night like a puzzle piece trying to prove it belongs in the big picture. Behind Amin Thompson and Jalen Green, minutes aren't guaranteed. They're earned on defense and discipline. That's never bothered Reed. It's built him. The 19.6 steal game against Denver said it best. He's not a spark, he's a circuit. He connects everything. Rotations, spacing, second passes. His fingerprints show up in film sessions more than in box scores. But the adjustment has been humbling. Last year, he was the underdog darling. Now, the known quantity. Opponents attack him on switches, test his frame, force him to prove he can stay sturdy, and he's responding with craft, not complaint. Houston's depth could have buried him. Instead, it's sharpening him. Shepherd's proving that impact isn't volume, it's value. Rob Dillingham is still the firecracker in Minnesota's steady hand. He doesn't just enter the game, he ignites it. His speed, his fearlessness, his audacity, all still electric. But now, the Wolves don't need sparks, they need structure. The 27-point explosion in Sacramento was the reminder. When he's rolling, he bends defenses like rubber. But 2 nights later, 4 turnovers in 15 minutes against Denver. That shows the flip side. That's a fine line of sophomore slumps, not losing ability, just learning restraint. Chris Finch has been molding Dillingham's tempo, teaching him that control isn't the enemy of excitement, it's the elevation of it. And Rob's buying in. You can see him managing possessions now, using hesitation as a weapon instead of instinct. That's growth, not in what he does, but what he doesn't do. He's learning that chaos is still his gift, but now it's one he unwraps carefully. In Chicago, Matas Buzelis is finally discovering that reliability is its own form of greatness. Last season was uneven, flashes of brilliance buried under inconsistency, but year 2, it feels like someone flipped a switch labeled efficiency. His 20-point, 9-rebound night against Cleveland looked different. Gone was the hesitation, gone was the extra dribbles. He played within the flow. A player who doesn't need the ball to matter. That's not regression, that's refinement. The Bulls have long lived in the land of almost. Buzelis looks like a player who's ready to pull them out of it. Not through flash, but through follow-through. Consistency may not trend, but it translates. And Matas finally speaks the language. We track everything now. Points, rebounds, touches, usage rate, how high a guy jumps. Hell, we even track how fast he blinks. But there's one thing this league still doesn't measure. Belief. It doesn't fit in a spreadsheet. It lives somewhere between faith and repetition. That stubborn space where the game stops rewarding you, but you show up anyways. Because belief doesn't live in a box score. It lives in the minutes that nobody sees, in the gym lights that flicker at midnight, and in the moments when a career becomes a calling. Up in Portland, Jrue Holiday is the calm inside the rebuild. He's not chasing cameras or contracts, just control. Still defending like every possession's a promise, still mentoring the young guards who grew up watching him do it the right way. You can feel his influence in how Portland moves. Organized, unhurried, honest. When a kid turns the ball over, Jrue doesn't bark, he breathes. He talks them through the mistake, shows them how to fix it, then lets them try again. That's not teaching, It's trust. Holiday's kind of belief, it isn't loud. It's the whisper that holds a locker room together. And maybe that's the truest kind, the kind that doesn't need credit, just connection. Down in Golden State, Al Horford laces up beside legends who were rookies when he was already reliable. He doesn't jump as high, doesn't move as quick, but he still matters. The Warriors brought him in for one reason: stability. Watch him during timeouts. He's not talking about shots, he's talking about spacing, timing, and patience. He sets the kind of screen that makes the highlight possible, but never appears in it. And when the night ends, he's the first to dap up the 15th man. And then there's Russell Westbrook, Brody, now wearing Sacramento purple, still walking like every arena owes him respect. He's not the fastest anymore, not the focal point, but that fire, it's still there. It hums under every word, every drive, every glare that says, "I'm not done." And then he went out and proved it. Just nights ago in Golden State, 23 points, 16 rebounds, 10 assists. A vintage triple-double that reminded everyone what conviction looks like in motion. The box score looked like a throwback, but the message was brand new. You can't change your jersey, your role, your reputation, but not your belief. He's teaching by example now. How to compete without complaint. How to bring energy when the world expects resignation. You see him pulling young kings aside, reminding them that the effort is currency, that the game still rewards conviction. That belief, in its rawest form, the kind that refuses to be defined by decline. Westbrook's story, it isn't about stats anymore. It's about identity. He's not chasing who he was, he's defending who he still is. And in a league that loves the next thing, there's something sacred about someone who keeps believing in this thing. Holiday shows that belief can be quiet. Horford proves that it can be patient. And Westbrook reminds us that it can be loud and still holy. Belief evolves. It starts as hope, grows into proof, and if you're lucky, it ends as purpose. That's the real box score. Not the numbers that fade, but the ones you feel. Trust, legacy, love for the game. Every bounce means that the game's still alive. The rookies believe in their chances, the sophomores believe in their growth, and the vets believe in what's next. In me, I believe the ball always finds the right hands, even off a bad rim. The box score fades, the jerseys change, but the bounce, that's forever. Because even when the clock hits 0, belief keeps moving. So tell me, who's the player that you believe in? Not for what he scores, but for what he stands for. Call in 216-452-8813. Drop your take, share your faith, and keep the bounce going. And before we go, big shout out to Dubby.gg for keeping Round Ball Rants running strong. Hit up Dubby.gg and use code ROUNDBALLRANTS at checkout for 10% off. Because belief also deserves a boost. You've been listening to Round Ball Rants. I'm Vincent Cooper. And remember, it's not just basketball, it's therapy with a bounce.